Human kidney, internal anatomy and functions. Renal capsule. The kidney is covered by a tough, thin protective layer called the renal capsule. It surrounds the kidney closely and helps protect the delicate internal tissues from physical damage and infection. It also helps maintain the kidney's shape. Renal cortex. Just beneath the renal capsule is the renal cortex, the outer region of the kidney. It contains many renal corpuscles and parts of the renal tubules. The renal cortex is an important site where blood filtration begins and where several stages of urine formation occur. Renal medulla. The inner region of the kidney is called the renal medulla. It contains cone-shaped structures known as renal pyramids. The medulla plays an important role in concentrating urine and maintaining the balance of water and dissolved substances in the body. Renal pyramids. Each renal pyramid contains numerous microscopic tubules that extend toward the inner part of the kidney. These tubules help modify the filtered fluid and transport the developing urine toward the kidney's drainage system. Renal columns. The renal columns are extensions of the renal cortex that project between the renal pyramids. They contain blood vessels and supporting tissue and provide structural separation between neighboring pyramids. Renal papilla. The pointed tip of each renal pyramid is called the renal papilla. Urine formed within the collecting ducts passes through openings at the papilla and enters the small cup-shaped structures called minor renal calyces. Minor renal calyx. A minor renal calyx surrounds the renal papilla and receives urine coming from that pyramid. Several minor renal calyces join together to form larger collecting spaces. Major renal calyx. Several minor renal calyces unite to form a major renal calyx. The major renal calyces collect urine from different regions of the kidney and direct it toward the renal pelvis. Renal pelvis. The renal pelvis is a funnel-shaped cavity located near the center of the kidney. It receives urine from the major renal calyces and gradually narrows into the ureter, which carries urine away from the kidney. Nephron. The nephron is the microscopic structural and functional unit of the kidney. Each kidney contains a very large number of nephrons. A nephron filters blood, reabsorbs useful substances and water, secretes certain unwanted substances, and ultimately contributes to urine formation. Renal corpuscle. The beginning of a nephron is the renal corpuscle, which consists of a glomerulus enclosed within a cup-shaped structure called the glomerular capsule. This is where filtration of blood takes place. Glomerulus. The glomerulus is a compact network of tiny blood vessels. Blood enters this network under pressure, allowing water and small dissolved substances to pass through the filtration barrier while larger blood cells and most large proteins remain in the bloodstream. Glomerular capsule. The glomerular capsule surrounds the glomerulus and receives the fluid filtered from the blood. This filtered fluid then enters the renal tubule for further processing. Proximal convoluted tubule. The proximal convoluted tubule is the first major part of the renal tubule. It reabsorbs large amounts of water, glucose, amino acids, sodium, chloride and other useful substances from the filtered fluid and returns them to the blood. Loop of Henle. The loop of Henle extends from the renal cortex into the renal medulla and then returns toward the cortex. Its different sections handle water and dissolved substances differently, helping establish the concentration gradient necessary for producing concentrated urine. Distal convoluted tubule. The distal convoluted tubule is another portion of the renal tubule located mainly in the renal cortex. It fine-tunes the composition of the tubular fluid by controlling the movement of ions and water and contributes to maintaining the body's chemical balance. Collecting duct. The collecting duct receives fluid from several nephrons. It passes through the renal medulla and carries the final urine toward the renal papilla. Its permeability to water can change according to hormonal signals, helping the body conserve water when necessary. Blood supply of the kidney. Blood reaches each kidney through the renal artery, which branches repeatedly inside the kidney to supply the nephrons. After filtration and exchange processes occur, blood leaves through the renal vein and returns to the general circulation. Renal hilum. The renal hilum is a depression on the inner border of the kidney where important structures enter or leave. The renal artery enters, the renal vein leaves, and the renal pelvis continues as the ureter. Nerves and lymphatic vessels also pass through this region. Overall function of the kidneys continuously filter the blood and remove metabolic waste products through urine. They regulate water and electrolyte balance, help control blood pressure, maintain the body's acid and alkaline balance, and contribute to the production and regulation of important hormones involved in red blood cell formation and calcium metabolism. Conclusion: the human kidney is a highly organized organ in which the renal cortex, renal medulla, renal pyramids, calyces, renal pelvis, blood vessels, and millions of microscopic nephrons work together. Its internal structure allows it to filter blood precisely, recover substances the body needs, eliminate waste, regulate water and minerals, and maintain the internal chemical balance essential for life. Follow and subscribe to Bioenigma X. Jivesh for more easy-to-understand biology and human anatomy topics.